gonna do, $1 on CryptoBullGod and his crypto maniacs and the entire cryptocurrency market run wild on you.
Welcome in. Cha-cha-cha. I am the CryptoBullGod, and this is the recorded on Wednesday, airing on Wednesday, January 5th. Dear God, it is 2022 CryptoBullGod Podcast. You can find me on Twitter, Tradingview, YouTube, and Instagram for some gym motivational content at CryptoBullGod. Just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. It's been a little while since I've put any content out there on the YouTube channel, and genuinely miss doing this stuff because, spending time within the crypto space, whether it's charting or whether it's just sharing my thoughts in terms of what I'm seeing in the space, it is something that I love doing. It's a huge passion of mine. So the fact that I was sort of removed from it for such an extended period of time, I definitely was feeling that, and I felt very energized to get back into the swing of things. By the way, Bitcoin and all of crypto, thank you for taking a shit a couple hours before recording this. So I know that the saltiness level has just increased based on things taking a little bit of a poop lately the past couple hours, literally right before I started recording this. So that was great to see. But either way, I'm here. So, and very happy to be back with everyone here. So I was actually up north visiting my family the past few weeks. I felt really great to come home. One of the nice things, as much as I love living in Florida, don't get me wrong, it just doesn't feel like the holidays down here. It does not feel like I celebrate Christmas. I'm not sure what everyone celebrates. Hey, by the way, you can drop a comment below. Let me know what holiday you celebrate. Also, don't forget to leave a like. Hey, look! The crypto mom is giving me a call right as I'm recording, so I love my mom very much, but I'm going to give her a call back. I was just on the phone with her about a couple hours ago. So anyway, if you appreciate the content, leave a like, drop a comment. Very much appreciated, so we can circulate good, genuine crypto content throughout the community, as well as a little bit of humorous, non-related crypto content that I try to put out there as well. But, it was a really nice trip home. Definitely felt like Christmas. Got to see my family. I wasn't home for the holidays last year because of all of the madness that took place in 2020. This was a big year too, because the Crypto Bull Goddess came home to meet the family. So but that went very well. So as expected, it went very well. And we had a great time while we were home, and we spent, there were a lot of highlights from the trip, a lot of things that were fun to do, going out with Crypto Bringer and Crypto Babe, and I got to see Crypto Blondie for the first time in a little while. I really missed him very much. By the way, if you don't know these names and you don't know who I'm referring to, you got to subscribe to the CryptoBroz podcast, which I will leave a description or leave a link in the description below. You should check that out. But great to see everyone. And when we were ending the trip on the way back home, I wanted to take a moment to talk about two quick things on the travel back. So first, I want to speak to the act of kindness that I received when I arrived at the airport. It's sometimes you have things happen, whether you're driving on the road and see things and you sort of lose faith in humanity, or all the madness last year that took place and all the toxicity that's out there. But I tend to think that there are a lot of really great people out there, genuine people. And I met one when I was in the Philadelphia airport. So what happened, in short, I did something that I've never done before in all the years that I traveled. So I made sure that the Crypto Bull Goddess and I got to the airport in very good time. I just wasn't sure with flight cancellations or delays and people traveling for the holidays and possible inclement weather and all these things. I just wanted to make sure that we got to the airport in really good time before our flight. And thank God I did, because by the time we actually got to the airport, we had a rental car while we were home. So we returned the rental car. We got shuttled to our terminal. And as we're going to check in our bags, CBG notices he doesn't have his new wallet with his license and credit card, and then realizes, oh shit, I left that in the middle console of my Nissan Sentra. So when I'm in a situation like that, I tend to, I don't know how you are if you're in a high stress situation, but I tend to, for the most part, get very focused on what I need to do to make whatever it is to happen, so that I'm in good order, right? Or we are in good order in this case, right? Let's just methodically go through, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? We're going to make this happen. We're going to get on this plane. We're not going to miss it. So we go back to the area where the rental, the shuttles drop you off at departing flights, and I see a shuttle there that is not for the rental car company I had, and I explained to this gentleman, hey, here's what happened, and right away, the driver for the shuttlecraft, the shuttle car, just says to me, hey, hop aboard, I'll take you there. And I was like, this is awesome, thank you. So he's driving me there, we're chit-chatting, and not only does this dude drive me to the rental car area where I left my car, he says, I'm going to wait a second for you. Like, you go run over there, do what you need to do, I'm going to wait here for you. So he waits. The dude waits for me. I bolt over. I first went into the wrong black Nissan Sentra, almost had a heart attack to find my wallet was not there, saw the Dunkin' Donuts napkins in the cup holder, realizing that we do not eat Dunkin' Donuts, so that was not us. Got to the right Nissan Sentra, found my wallet right away, bolted back. I'm pretty fast, by the way. I'm a fast runner, so I made pretty good timing. But I bolted back, and this guy was still waiting for me. Like, it was like a private shuttlecraft just for me. This guy was so kind, like, very, 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 very kind guy that I met. And he waited for me, and he literally just took me to American Airlines to make sure that I didn't miss my flight. So that gentleman, if he is listening right now, I did want to say a very big thank you again. It was very much appreciated. So it was actually interesting, just real quick on that note. I would have tipped him. I definitely would have tipped him cash, but I did not have any dirty fiat on me. Did not have any fiat cash on me. So I just said, hey, I want to try to carry this forward in some way and express some sort of expression of gratitude. And I said, if you're looking to, if you're into investments at all, if you're looking to get into cryptocurrencies or you are in the market, I've been in this market for over 4 years. I'm very well educated. I put out content, yada, yada, yada. Hey, it turns out, just by chance, this guy's looking to get into the market this year, he told himself. So the timing could not have worked out any perfect that we ran into one another. We hooked up on social media here, and hopefully he's listening. And I'm hoping that for years to come here that you do find the content that I put out there and other content, valuable content creators, that you find them in the space to help you along with your investment journey. So thank you very much. And then the other, real quick, before we get into crypto real quick, we had a connecting flight coming back here to Florida. American Airlines was 0 for 3 in terms of getting our luggage to the right spot. So that was very interesting. So for one day, CBG did not have any clothing. It did not have any clothing. I just had what I was wearing. So and it didn't have anything. So that was a really interesting day the next day. But fortunately, we did get our suitcases back in good order. American Airlines, as much as they screwed up, did a really good job of notifying us when our suitcases got there, and we went and picked them up, because they apparently displaced a ton of luggage. So to wait for them to be delivered to the house was an unknown in terms of when it would get there. So we just picked it up, and things worked out. So speaking of the unexpected, the market is very volatile, right? So a couple hours coming into this podcast, Bitcoin decides it wants to poop. Some of the alts are taking a little bit of a poop. And the sentiment out there, one of the things I pulled up right now is the Fear and Greed Index. For those that are not familiar, just Google Crypto Fear and Greed Index. The basic premise is that this basically reads the market in terms of where there's everything from extreme fear to extreme euphoria in the market. And right now the reading is 24. This gauge ranges between 0 to 100. 0 being the most fear you could see, 100 being mass euphoria, the most euphoric you could see. We're at 24, so we're in extreme fear right now. So the market is definitely pretty salty and not feeling it. Typically, not all times, but typically, when you're in situations like this, especially if you know what you're doing, these do present awesome buying opportunities, especially if you're a long-term horizon sort of person, and looking to invest for the long term. I mean, these opportunities are generally pretty well if you know what you're doing. But what I wanted to do in terms of providing a market update, because it has been a little bit since I have spoken to the charts here. And again, what I aim to do on the podcast, different from the TA video, is if I'm providing you commentary from a TA or technical analysis perspective, you should not have to pull up a chart in front of you while I'm speaking to the chart. I should be able to explain things in layman's terms and explain things very simplistically so that you can sort of get a picture in your head in terms of what I'm speaking to, and you shouldn't need a chart. Now, you can pull up a chart if you want, but you shouldn't need to. So I know that the video that I put out there, there's really the main video, and then there's an update video that's garnered a lot of attention in terms of, at least from my subscriber base, has been the 12-hour chart. And if you have not watched the video pertaining to the Bitcoin chart that literally no one is talking about, and to date, still no one is talking about this, where I talk about 14 historical pieces of price action, specific price actions that have occurred and what it has resulted in. Again, there's a lot of charts out there where there's 2 or 3 historical data points speaking to certain price movements and what we can expect. This is speaking to 14, and it's a 12-hour chart. And with the limited amount of price data that we have on Bitcoin, I view it as something that is statistically significant. What I want to do right now is I want to speak a little bit to the 12-hour chart, because I will say, from my perspective, it's not that there aren't other charts I'm looking at. Of course, I'm looking at monthly, I'm looking at the weekly. I have a few different charts I'm looking at on Bitcoin. But one of the main charts that I'm looking at on Bitcoin, because, the analysis I put out there on the 12-hour view is very significant to me. Okay, it's very significant to me. And so because the analysis I put out there on the 12-hour chart and the price action we're seeing is very significant in terms of the shorter term and the longer term, this is the chart I'm mainly monitoring right now. One of the things you have to understand is, let's just kind of think about this logically. And I've spoken to this in prior TA videos and perhaps podcasts as well, but I know I've spoken to this on prior technical analysis videos. There are different time frames you can look at on any asset or any stock or any crypto, okay? As things become bullish, okay, as things become bullish on a smaller time frame, let's say a 4-hour chart, as things become, you start to see a turn in the chart, okay, turn from bearish to bullish on a 4-hour chart, that smaller time frame will bleed over into a larger time frame. So the bullishness on a 4-hour time frame will bleed over into a 12-hour time frame. You should start to see more bullish price action on a 12-hour time frame. And then once things become bullish on the 12-hour time frame, that starts to bleed over into a daily time frame, and then a 3-day time frame, and then a weekly time frame. So hopefully you follow what I'm saying right now. So once things begin to turn around on the 12-hour time frame, I'll spend even more attention on the daily, 3-day, weekly, and even monthly views. But for right now, I'm looking at the 12-hour chart. And this is what I would say on the 12-hour chart. Again, if you're not familiar with the 2 TA videos I have out there on why the 12-hour chart is so statistically significant, in my opinion, and I just lay out the facts in the videos, you need to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. But right now, we got that death cross, okay, where the 50 simple moving average, and again, all the commentary I'm speaking to right now is on the 12-hour chart, okay, no other time frame. We had that death cross occur, it looks like on the 11th of December, 11th or 12th of December, okay? So ever since then, when the 50 simple moving average moved below the 200 simple moving average, the 50 simple moving average, and I tweeted about this earlier, it's acting as a key point of resistance. Think of it this way. Moving averages, okay, and it's the same thing as areas of support and resistance, okay? Moving averages, if price is above or below, act as areas of support and resistance respectively. Okay, so right now, what's happening is price is below the 50 simple moving average, and it's acting as resistance. Okay, I'm punching my fist into my hand. Okay, resistance. So the 50 simple moving average is acting as resistance, and it's pushing down price. So the first thing I want to see, step one, I'm looking at this 12-hour chart. I want to see price get above the 50 simple moving average and stay above it. Now, we did temporarily get above it on December 23rd, which was awesome to see. But then guess what happened? We've moved back down below it. That is not good to see. So what we want to see is we want to see Bitcoin punch back up above 48,000, roughly $48,000. We want to get back above that area. We want to consolidate. And then step two would be the big one. Step two would be getting back above the 200 simple moving average. And the 200 simple moving average right now, which is good to see, it's increasing in value. It's at roughly, we're going to call it $55,000 because that's basically what it is. 55,000. So the first thing we want to see, and again, moving averages change with time, so I'm giving you price points based on today. But we want to see price get above roughly $48,000, consolidate, and then get back up and start to push up towards $55,000. Okay? Now, one of the things I tweeted out is, and I wanted to explain in today's podcast, well, if price action is going down, right? We've seen a lot of, sideways chop in Bitcoin. We've seen some downward recent price action since before Christmas till now. Why in the hell would the 200 simple moving average be moving up? Okay? Well, there's a very simple answer to that question. The 200 simple moving average is based on the prior 200 12-hour candlesticks. So if the 200 simple moving average on a 12-hour chart is moving up as recent price action is going down, all that's telling you is, what we're saying is the most recent 200 candlesticks on a 12-hour chart are higher on average than some of the older candlesticks. So just because the recent price action is sort of decreasing in value or going sideways, that recent price action is not indicative of 200 candlesticks, right? But that is why the 200 simple moving average, the past several candlesticks in the 12-hour chart, has been increasing in value. Now, what we also want to see, I think this is the last comment I wanted to make on the 12-hour chart. I told you about 48,000, which is the 50 SMA. I told you about 55,000, which is the 200 SMA, and sort of what I want to see there. The next thing we'd want to see once we start seeing that price action, which we will eventually see, the next thing we want to see is the 50 simple moving average cross above the 200 simple moving average. Okay, that's what we want to see next, because that would be a golden cross. That'd be a huge indicator that price action is going to sustain bullish price action and continue onward and upward. And I guess there's one other thing I would say in relation to this chart. Let me click on the right chart here. So one of the other things I tweeted, and this is why it's important to follow me on Twitter. I tweeted this out recently. If you understood and followed the video, my original video that I put out on the 12-hour chart, I said, all right, look, if this is truly what I'm terming a correction on the 12-hour view, and we get sustained price action, what we would call, by correction, we meant sustained price action on the 12-hour chart below the 200 simple moving average, what we can expect, removing our outlier years, which were our massive bear market years, the 2 years we removed, if we remove those two outliers, we should expect, this is just based on history, it's factual information, I'm not making this stuff up, it's not subjective, it's factual information based on data, price data that I shared in that video. We can expect that Bitcoin's price action will remain below the 200 simple moving average, in this case roughly $55,000, for anywhere between 51 to 132 days if it follows prior times that it's done this, where it's had a corrective nature and stayed below the 200 SMAs for some period of time, right? And we know based on the death cross, if you followed my TA video, there's a 90% likelihood that that's what we're going to see, sustained price action below the 200 SMA. And at this point, that's pretty obvious, based on the fact we're sitting at just over $43,000 and the 200 SMAs all the way up at 55, right? So what does that actually mean from a time frame perspective? What the data is telling us, I'm not telling you this, the data is telling you this. I'm just interpreting the data for you. I am your, think of it this way. The data is out there for everybody to read and to know what's going on. I'm simply taking it, digesting it, and telling you what it's telling us. So what that's telling us is, based on data, we can expect Bitcoin to remain most likely below $55,000 for any time frame between January 24th, it looks like, January 24th and the 15th of April. So based on prior data, it's telling us, just based on all the factual information, Bitcoin, if it follows history, will remain below $55,000 until any time between the 24th of January all the way up until the 15th of April. And I've said to you before, my inclination, it'll be on the earlier side. Don't forget, this is a very volatile market. Things can go quickly south and north in the blink of an eye. Okay, I am not telling you that I'm an expert and I am the most knowledgeable person in this field, and everybody should just listen to me, and I know all. In fact, I say quite the contrary. You should follow other people as well and just use me as a data point, and I think I'm a very valid data point to use within your arsenal of data, but I don't know everything. But what I'm saying is I do know enough, and I've been here for long enough. I've been here for over 4 years to see just how volatile this market is, how volatile the crypto market is, and how much of a different animal the crypto market is compared to the stock market. It's just very, very different because of how naive the crypto market is, how immature it is, in other words, okay, how small it is in terms of market cap. So the market, the crypto markets can turn around very, very, very quickly. But again, based on historical data, we should expect, if Bitcoin does this time what it has done in the past, based on the 9 occurrences, I believe it's 9 occurrences I've spoken to, of the 14, we should expect Bitcoin to remain below the 200 SMA on the 12-hour chart, which is roughly 55,000, for any time period between January 24th and April 15th. And the last thing I would comment on about that is I tweeted out roughly right before I started recording, actually, and that'll give you an indication when I started recording. I said the darkest hour is just before the dawn. And I forgot exactly how the real quote went, but that's a quote that's been around for a very long time. I just Googled it to get the right quote, to be honest with you, but I knew it was something along those lines. The point is on both ends, I really want everyone to keep this in mind. No one can pick the absolute top or bottom of a correction. Okay, the absolute top of a run or the bottom of a correction. Okay, no one can. But what I would say is, when things tend to get massively pessimistic, in most cases, there's other things you need to look at, but this is just in general. When things tend to get massively pessimistic, that's generally the best sign that things are at a bottom or near a bottom. When things become absolutely extraordinarily euphoric, okay? Example, we will never have a massive correction in crypto. This is a super cycle and Bitcoin's going to $5 bajillion, okay? When things become that euphoric, pretty much a signal that we've already topped or we're about as close to it as we can get, okay? So just keep that in mind. I always say to people, if most people got this market right, it wouldn't make any sense at all, because you have a very small percentage of the people who are in any market who capitalize on it and really maximize the opportunity and become, multimillionaires, or even if multi-billionaires, or whatever the case is. They become very successful financially with whatever they've invested, and they are the 1%. The other 99% get it wrong. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I mean, most people in this market lose the shirt off their backs. They get emotional and they don't know what they're doing. And this is one of the reasons why I'm here to hopefully share with you logic. And as much as I try to bring entertainment to the space, I mean, I feel like I'm a very down-to-earth, logical person. I mean, like I said, I'm an actuary, so I'm very conservative by nature, and I'm here to try to help you out. So just keep these things in mind. Speaking of that, one of the things I wanted to speak to, which was a continuing theme when I was home, was I was being asked on the timing of everything, the timing of cryptocurrency and it topping. And the question on timing made me think, well, there's kind of two things in all fairness that it made me think. One, it's a very fair question. I mean, it's a very fair question because I was adamant that my primary hypothesis was that Bitcoin would top December, maybe January, right? That was, if you go back and you listen to me, that's what I've consistently stated. And I said, well, if that doesn't pan out and the cycle does expand a bit, I could see, as my alternative hypothesis, I could see the market topping somewhere in the Bitcoin topping somewhere in the first half of 2022, really by July, and then altcoins, as always, topping sometime shortly after that. Okay, and so I think on the one hand it's a fair question, but on the other hand, I think if the emphasis is on from certain individuals on the timing. Why isn't the timing working out? What do you think about the timing? What I think to myself is there's a lot of, and I say this with all due respect, I really do. There's a lack of education in making that the emphasis of the question. If that's the primary question that you're asking me, that's all you're asking me, there's a lack of education on your part, in my opinion, with all due respect. And that is because I have stated consistently time and time again that in my educated opinion, the absolute hardest thing to do is to come out and give an educated guess. Everything we do as technical analysts are educated guesses. Some people sort of fail to see that. But I think the hardest thing to do is to take an educated guess in terms of when things could occur, right? And I also think that it shows a high degree of impatience because everybody wants things to occur now, and they're not willing to exercise the patience. They're not willing to exercise the patience to allow things to develop. And also, it doesn't speak to me on the due diligence being done on that person's part to educate themselves to feel convicted one way or the other. I have said time and time again, and I need to put a TA video together once I'm actually back in my own place and have the time to put it together. I need to place together a video for the main charts and data science models that I'm looking at that leave me feeling convicted that the market has not topped. That is what I am most focused on. What I am focused on is there something happening within any of the data points I am evaluating that are leading me to conclude that the market has topped and we are entering a massive correction moving forward. And there's nothing that I'm looking at that says that. So even if things are playing out such that it takes 3 months longer or 6 months longer than I anticipated, again, I'll say what I've said in prior podcasts. And I said this before we knew that things were getting extended beyond December and January. Who gives a flying fuck if you know that generational wealth transfer, the generational transfer opportunity that we've been in the midst of and have yet to see the peak euphoria of is going to occur, has been occurring, but it will continue to occur. And it's simply a matter of timing in terms of when that peak euphoria will occur. Like, who cares? Why does it matter? And the thing that really scares me for the people who are very impatient right now or are feeling that way, I'm really fearful for them that they're going to be the ones that feel most glorious and euphoric during peak euphoria, and they won't be selling when they need to sell. Or perhaps they're totally scared right now and they sell too early. One or the other. And that's where I know for a fact, I can tell you right now, when I do sell my investments, I'm not going to sell things perfectly. Are you kidding me? Like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to time this market and sell things perfectly. H-bar hits $5 and I sold all 5 bajillion of my H-bars at $5. Come on, stop, really. But just having the logic to scale out at reasonable levels and not get caught up in the emotions is going to be critical to your success in this market, and really capturing the generational wealth transfer that's upon us, that we've been in the midst of. And just keep in mind, the market, like I said, is very immature right now. It's only a couple $1 trillion. I don't even know what it is right now. I haven't looked at it recently, the total market cap. I think we're just shy of $2 trillion, so a little under $2 trillion. So just keep that in mind. And speaking of timing and speaking of dates, actually this Friday, it is my birthday. So I'm actually what do I want to say about my birthday this year? So what I would say is I'm definitely very excited. I mean, I feel very blessed in general just for everything I have in my life, in all sincerity. And I am looking forward to traveling this year. I'm going to be traveling, of course, with the CryptoBullGod, and we're going to be going to Naples, Florida. So for those who haven't been to Naples, hey, if anybody's in Naples listening, hit me up. Maybe we can do a little meetup. But I will be in Naples, Florida for a few days, not on my birthday. I'm leaving shortly thereafter for a few days, taking off from work. And one funny story related to this whole thing. So, as you get older, one of the things you appreciate is, if you're in your 20s right now, you can't relate to this, so don't even try. But as you get older, one of the things you appreciate is if somebody comments on how old they think you are, and it's significantly younger than you actually are. I mean, it feels nice. I mean, honestly, who wouldn't smile at that, right? So the CryptoBullGod and we're out and we're doing some shopping and getting groceries. And the woman at the register, the girl at the register, I'm not sure what drugs she was on, or some sort of hallucinogenic, I don't know if it was LSD or what. But the reason I say that is because we picked up some seltzer beers for the trip to Naples, right? So she had to ID me. And she said, "What are you like?" I commented. I said, "What is my birthday coming up, actually?" And she said, "What are you turning 25?" And I laughed pretty hard at that one. But the funniest thing about this story that I wanted to share is not only did she drastically underguess my age at 25, but she also guessed that the CryptoBullGod's age was 22. So that would mean that she looked at her and she looked at I. We had a 3-year difference, a 3-year difference in age visually, and I thought that was the funniest part of the whole thing, because she guessed that the CryptoBullGod was 22 and I was 25, and again, she probably was in LSD when she made that comment. But we have a little bit more of an age difference than that, and I'm a little higher than 25 voice change. So that was definitely a highlight of the day. It made me feel good. So, but yeah, I am very, very, very thankful. I'm very excited about my birthday on Friday. I'm going out to eat somewhere I don't know, which is a surprise I really value. So something about me that I'll share with you real quick before we get into the chart of the week. I love cooking. I love fine dining. I'm a wine connoisseur. I love wine. And so there's, one of the things that makes me really happy is trying out new restaurants, good seafood, good fish. I don't do red meat. So good seafood, good fish. And so we'll see what's in store for Friday and then a trip to Naples. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Now, in terms of the chart of the week, let's get into that. So if you've been listening to the CBG podcast for quite some time, you might guess that the chart of the week is Bitcoin, but I didn't want to do that. Okay, the chart of the week could easily be Bitcoin because it really is the most important chart. As you know, I don't care what your personal feelings are. Bitcoin is the king of crypto right now. Okay, it is the lead. It's big dog. It's big dog. It's big dog on deck. All right, big dog. And I was gonna try and make another joke there, but my jokes are pretty bad. So really speaking to Bitcoin would be good, but what I'm actually going to speak to this week is Ethereum. I had tweeted out a chart on Ethereum today, and Ethereum is at a critical price level in my opinion. Now, this is one where I guess now that I'm talking about it, this is one where you are going to want a chart in front of you, okay? So I'll do the best I can to explain it verbally, but in all fairness, this is probably one that you're going to want to chart on and take a look at. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoBullGod, okay, because I have the chart out there. But basically what I pointed out on Twitter today is that there's a key descending line of resistance. It was resistance. We broke above. Okay, this is a weekly view. We broke above the week of October 18th of last year. Now, since then, it's acted as an area of support. And typically, this is what happens. It's a basic premise in charting. It's a basic bullish premise in charting is what you want to see. When a key area of resistance is broken, it's very common for it to be back-tested and under a bullish narrative. What happens is, as that prior area of resistance is back-tested, the price comes down and touches it, it acts as, boom, a floor, a key area of support. I clapped my hands. I like to do that. I'm Italian. So, it got back-tested and it's acted as an area of support. But what we're seeing right now in the current weekly candle is, right now, price action is below that descending line. That descending line is right about, on this week, it's right at about 3,600, okay? We don't care about price wicks. We want to see how this week closes out, okay? Because price wicks are an expression of what? You got it. Price wicks are an expression of volatility. So price could go all the way down to, I don't give a shit if it goes down to 3,000. But as long as we close the week above, I want to see price action. This is the key level for me personally. I do not want to see Ethereum. I do not want to see Ethereum close anywhere below around $3,600 on the weekly candle. The candle is set to close next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do not want to see Ethereum close below 3,600. Now, okay, we could close at 3,555 and perhaps we're okay. So I'm saying around 3,600, all right? So maybe, given the volatile nature of the entire space, maybe we close at 3,500 and we're okay. But the point is that descending line of resistance is right around. Let's not be too scientific and specific. People get too, they can't exercise common sense sometimes. I'm saying right around 3,600. So I really want to see our weekly candle on Ethereum. Now I'm pounding my fist. I want to see it close at or above 3,600. The other thing that might be playing out here real quick on Ethereum is not only has price been sort of descending in value, the other thing I didn't tweet about that I'll tell you here on the podcast, which could potentially play out, if this weekly candle, okay, if this week Ethereum closes anywhere around, I don't know, 3,680 roughly or above, we could be in the middle of a falling wedge. Now, a falling wedge is actually a bullish pattern. Okay, it's a tightening pattern. Look it up on Google if you don't know what it is. But it wouldn't surprise me if Ethereum closed at, say, 37 or 3,800. We were in a falling wedge, and we eventually broke out of that falling wedge to test the all-time high sometime, near the end of January. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. But the most important thing for you to keep an eye on, and you'll want to follow the chart that I have out there on Twitter at CryptoBullGod, is you'll want to look at the weekly view and you want to look at the pattern I have out there, and you'll see that descending line of resistance, which has now been support since the middle of October, the 18th that I spoke to of October. You want to see that hold, and that area is around 3,600. So I don't care. Again, this week Ethereum could have a lot of volatility. You could see Ethereum at 3,200. I don't care, but Sunday at 7 p.m. I want to see that price around 3,600 or higher. Okay, that's what I want to see. Now, you know what the last segment is. Let's get into some Twitter questions. And by the way, the Twitter questions this week, I want to say, as I'm actually flipping to them, I won't pause like I typically do and stop recording. I always appreciate the Twitter questions, but I did note this week, I just saw a notification from my brother, CryptoBringer, freaking shitcoin. Oh, CryptoBringer. LOL, I am in the midst of recording. That's awesome. CryptoBringer bringing it. So, the thing I wanted to say about the Twitter questions that I really appreciated this time around, and again, I appreciate all the interaction, but I noticed that some of the questions were a little bit more in depth, a little bit more, it just seemed like there was a lot more thought behind some of the questions, and I really appreciate it. So, in no particular order, I'm going to go through these questions I always do. DT, appreciate you being with me since the very start, my friend. Okay, so what are we going here? Allowing for acceptable deviation. We are not yet outside the 4-year cycle, but it seems the cycle will extend. Do you think this is a reflection of the crypto space maturing? And if so, do you think we will still see the same blow-off top pattern for BTC followed by alts? This is a very, very, very good question, DT. So this is something I've thought a lot about. And what I would say is a couple things here. As the market continues to mature, and by mature, let's be specific about what we mean here. When I say the market is maturing, what I mean is there's more money invested in the space, and as a result, the market capitalization, or market cap for short, is growing in size. So instead of, let's say today, even though it's a little south of this, let's say today the market capitalization of the entire cryptocurrency space is $2 trillion. Well, price movements based on $2 trillion in total is going to look a whole lot different if the market capitalization of crypto one day, which it will get to this point eventually at some point, is 200 trillion, right? So as it grows from 2 trillion to 200 trillion, yes, things will look a lot different. So what I would say is, my own personal opinion is that as things continue to mature, yes, quote-unquote cycles and blow-off tops and bottoms, yes, they will absolutely look different. But what I would say is, for now, given how immature the market is, I would say, and this is also in general, all we can do is formulate hypotheses, educated opinions on future price action based on historical data. That's all we can do. So as a statistician, as an analyst, okay, what I'm doing is, all I can do is rely on the historical data to make inferences about the future. So right now, my educated hypothesis is that we're still going to get a blow-off top this year. And once we get that blow-off top, we will see a similar correction in Bitcoin. I think historically Bitcoin corrects, and again, alts tend to correct 90% or more, up to 99%. But Bitcoin, I think, tends to correct just over 80%. Let's say it's 83% or 85%, right? So maybe, because Bitcoin has grown larger in size, maybe it corrects 78% after a blow-off top. But I still think we're going to see a massive correction in crypto this cycle. But eventually, to your point, over time, this is going to soften. It's going to the mass points of euphoria in crypto and the massive corrections will gradually over time sort of wear off, where it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as great of a price appreciation and price depreciation? Great questions there. Appreciate it. Thank you. Next one, Phantom 5. It's a new happy new year. Congrats on the 10,000 followers. Yeah, by the way, hey, thank you very much. I am up to 10,300 followers on Twitter. Apparently, I don't know how many of you find I don't know how you find my content that valuable, but apparently there's over 10,000 of you out there that actually pay attention to what I'm doing. So thank you for that. And there are roughly 1,800 of you on YouTube who find my content helpful and appreciate it. So thank you for that. Do you think the crypto market will change during 2022? Slower growth compared to 2021. Slower growth compared to 2021. Will you be adding any new projects to Holy Crypto? Finally, do you think we'll see... Geez, how many questions... Bro, how many questions can you ask in here? I don't even say bro. I'm more of a dude person. Why did I say bro? All right, you got a lot of questions in here. Let's go through this. Do you think the crypto market will change during slower growth compared... No, if anything, it'll be accelerated growth. I think the more that time goes on, we're going to see even more and more growth. Now, you may be asking sort of, I don't know how to interpret this question, because you're asking about price appreciation versus growth in the industry. You talk about fundamentals or technicals. From a fundamental perspective, there's going to be accelerated growth moving forward year after year, in my opinion. From a technical perspective, given my hypothesis, my educated opinion is that we're going to see a blow off top this year. We could see price appreciations in many assets that will supersede what we've seen in 2021. I think there's the potential for that as well. Will you be adding any new projects to the Holy Crypto Trinity? No, my friend. The Holy Crypto Trinity is the Holy Crypto Trinity. It's implied by the name. There's only 3 assets in that space. That is Mana Decentralized. Mana Decentraland. There is one Harmony, and there is H-Bar, the king, Hedera. So, no, there's no more assets being added to that selection. And finally, do you think we'll see a super cycle until August? Cheers. Cheers, my friend. Thank you for the engagement. So, a super cycle, how I interpret that is that Bitcoin's going to 500,000 plus. I'm Willy Woo. I interpret that as me being Willy Woo and saying Bitcoin is going to go to like $500,000. And no, I don't see that happening. There is no super cycle. We're going to see... I've put price ranges out there before that I think are a lot more reasonable, but there is no super cycle. I think we're going to see it blow off top this year. So no, I don't think that. Semper Hodl. Who had the best physique in the... Oh, I didn't like this. When did this come in? This is 5 hours ago. Sorry, I didn't see that. Who had the best physique in the 90s pro wrestling, and why was it Big Papa Pump? Well, apparently you think it's Big Papa Pump. Big Papa Roid. He was on roids, though a lot of people were on roids back in the 90s and even the 2000s. I'll seriously answer your question. Who I personally thought had the best wrestling physique in the 90s, because when I was a kid, I didn't know any better with steroids, and even in my 30s and 20s, I still don't know any better with steroids. There are people, especially down in South Florida, there are people who ask me, have you ever tried this, or are you on this, or are you on that? I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. I've never heard of the names before. I told CryptoBullGod this. I'm like, I don't even know what people tell me. Like, I'm a boy in a bubble growing up. Like, I grew up in a pretty sheltered environment, so I don't know anything. But when I was growing up as a kid watching the wrestlers back in the 90s, I would say the people who I looked up to in terms of, like, I just thought they looked awesome, like their physique was awesome. I would say definitely the Ultimate Warrior. He was basically my favorite wrestler growing up. The Ultimate Warrior, the Texas Tornado. Hey, shout out to the Texas Tornado. He had a great physique too. All of them were on steroids. The British Bulldog. The British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. A little later on, Chris Benoit. I know that's pretty controversial, but I'm just keeping it at wrestling. Let's not go any further than that. But wrestling, I always admired the fact that he had huge arms, like he had huge forearms and huge biceps. Like I can remember working out in my parents' basement and training my arms and wanting to get like Chris Benoit. So those are the first few people that hit me. If I sat here long enough, I'd be able to think of others. But those are the people who hit me at first. Next question, Simon, rushing into 2022. With companies like MicroStrategy owning large amounts of Bitcoin, over 120,000 worth, will we see less effect on market cycles, bull bear market cycles, and price fluctuations, and increasing market cycle lengths as crypto may stabilize? I can't see large companies wanting an 80% drop in value in investments. Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, nobody wants an 80% drop in investment. But what I would say is my comments kind of echo how I responded to the first question from DT. As the market continues to grow and mature in value, there will be an increased sense of stabilization within prices. But again, I would point you back to earlier podcasts. If you've been here for a while, you would know this. I would point you back to earlier podcasts on this channel, and I would point you back to earlier podcasts with my brother on CryptoBroz, and I've spoken about how small the crypto market is in relation to other markets. And so right now, we are still very, very, very small. It's going to take a long time to get to the point where there won't be wild fluctuations in crypto. It will diminish over time. The volatility will diminish over time, specifically in Bitcoin, but you still have a lot of small players in this space. But it's going to take a long time for that to happen. So it isn't anything overnight. Volatility is still going to be here for a long time, in my opinion. A high amount of volatility is still going to be here for a while, especially in a lot of the smaller and mid-cap altcoins. Next question, MetaBaby26. Alrighty. I lost $2,500 on the Meta Islands IGO rug pool. I have no clue what that is. I'll be honest with you. Maybe death by FUD, not sure. How do I avoid this in 2022? Well, I have no clue what that is, so I can't comment on it. Thank you for the question, but I have no idea. I read that earlier today, and I thought to myself, I have no clue what that is. What I would say is, in general, how you avoid any sort of scams is you really just have to do your due diligence. I'm just going to make a general comment. I mean, to severely reduce, significantly reduce the risk of getting into a scam and losing money, you just have to do your due diligence before putting your money in anything. Oftentimes, scams are avoided by not thinking that you can get rich quickly. Doing your due diligence and investing soundly and exercising common sense, and I don't mean that with any disrespect. Maybe it seemed like a sound investment project, but that is the only way that I know of to significantly reduce your risk. So sorry I'm not familiar with the specific item you're speaking to, but that's my general advice. Why did you... Okay, next question. Block Talk. I knew this would be an interesting one. We have 2 more questions, I believe. Why did you choose not to take steroids? This is very simple. I'm all about integrity. I don't want to go on and on. Sometimes I have a habit of talking and talking. But I would say in all aspects of my life, I try to do the right thing for the right reason. And I would say arguably the biggest passion of my life, I mean, I don't know how I could argue otherwise, the biggest passion in my life is actually exercising and hitting the weights. I mean, I've been doing it literally all my life since the age of 14. Okay, since the age of 14, I won't say what year that is, but since the age of 14, I have consistently nonstop weight trained. Okay, literally, I want you to think about that for a second. So I've never taken an extended break. And what's been really nice for me to look back on is I've never, in my eyes, cheated. I've never taken a shortcut. I've never cheated. I have had some horrible schedules in my life taking actuarial exams to become credentialed as a full-blown fellow. And that was pretty brutal. And I still managed to get into the gym and not miss workouts. So I like looking back on things and knowing I have worked my ass off all my life to get to where I'm at. I haven't jeopardized my health. I haven't jeopardized my integrity, in my opinion. It's just who I am. So that's how I would answer that. I've never even contemplated taking anything. I just couldn't. This is just my view. It just disgusts me. I just couldn't do that stuff. So never even thought about it. Good question. Lehman Jobs. I think this is the last question, although I thought there were more, but I think this is the last question. I'm seeing the podcast is super long this week, so my apologies. Hopefully you're still hanging with me. Drop a like and leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. So this one deals with leverage and how can we tell if it's for long or short Bitcoin positions? Can this lead to a cascade of liquidations and bargain buys on alts prior to moving above the 200 simple moving average that you've covered during one of your recent videos? Okay, so the general premise here is, first off, so we're trying to get at the point of leverage and telling if the market is heavily long or short, and how that can that lead to a lot of increased volatility in the market? Well, let me answer the latter. Yes, increased leverage in the market will lead to a lot more volatility and liquidations on the upside or downside in the market. I do not participate in leverage trading. I do not participate in long or shorting Bitcoin. To each their own. I think you can get destroyed doing leverage trading. I think leverage trading has done a lot of damage to the market, in my opinion. It's driven by greed. That's just my own opinion. Do I think that monitoring the long and short positions within the market could be valuable to understanding what's going on? Yes. Do I actively monitor it? No. So I am not the best person to answer this question for you. However, what I can answer for you is the fact that yes, if the market is heavily longed or shorted, it can lead to a lot of mass liquidations based on stop losses and also based on people wanting to cover their positions because they don't want to lose their ass. Okay? Check out, by the way, if you haven't, and my guess is based on your question, you're familiar. If you're not familiar, check out the gamma squeeze. Check out the gamma squeeze that occurred on, now I'm forgetting. Was it the... Oh, it was GameStop. It was GameStop. I was losing my bearings there for a second. Check out what happened February 2021, the gamma squeeze that occurred in GameStop, and that'll tell you when things are just overly, grossly shorted, what can happen. But yeah, I think leverage has really hurt the market. I'm not a fan of it. It's basically, in short, for those that don't know, it's basically borrowing money with expiration dates, and you can either make a massive, if you leverage 10x on what you own, you can make 10x the amount of gains. You can also lose 10x the amount of losses. You can have 10x the amount of losses too. You can fucking lose a shirt off your back. So I don't do it, but it's really hurt the market in my opinion. 2 more questions. I knew there were 2 more. So again, sorry about the lengthy podcast, but it's been a while, and hopefully you're still with me. So again, on this channel for the podcast, even though it's on YouTube, you can listen. You do not need to watch. This is not video. Thank God this isn't video today. I don't know why I said that, but you can just listen. So hopefully you're kicking back and just listening. It's what I do with Joe Rogan. I just listen. His podcasts sometimes are 3 hours, and I just put it in bite-sized chunks and listen to it. Ah, Phantom 5. Look at you asking more questions. You had about 7 questions this week. Hey, whatever, man. It's all good. Appreciate it. Besides the obvious projects with the Holy Crypto Trinity, what other Web3 projects you reckon are solid? Thanks again for the podcast. Cheers. Cheers, my friend. So I would say anything that I tend to tweet about is an investment or a trade. So that's the first thing I would say. I would say 3 projects that come to mind that I would think are solid outside of the space. This is a little controversial, but so I'm just going to give you my opinion. XRP from a fundamental perspective, I got to tell you, I'm extremely familiar with XRP. I've done a lot of motherfucking homework on XRP, and I love what they're trying to do with that technology, what Ripple specifically is trying to do with XRP. I would say from a technical perspective, the price action has been very subpar. Has not been good price action. It has not done well in 2021 compared to most other projects. Even 2020. I know there was a black swan event. From a technical perspective, it has not been great. But from a fundamental perspective, and if you have a long-term horizon, I think there's a lot of potential there in Nostro Vostro accounts. Believe me, I could talk all day about it. I've educated myself enough. So XRP is something I still believe is a strong winner in the end. Other ones, I would say, XLM, its brother sister, I would say is another one that I think has a lot of strong possibilities in terms of in the payment space that I'm familiar with. It doesn't have as strong a social backing, but it still has a lot of promise. I would say another no-brainer is Ethereum. And another one that I've been doing some research on and I would speak to from both a price appreciation standpoint and fundamentals and has a strong social backing as well as Solana. So really I gave you 4. XRP, XLM, Ethereum, and Solana. Good question. And Happy New Year's. Last one. This is a great one to end on. Steve, come on, man. Macro outlook for 2022. Alt season dead. Cycles dead. Bro, you're speaking to the... come on, man. You're killing me here. No, alt season isn't dead. And no, the cycles aren't dead. Stop. You're getting salty. You're getting frustrated. And listen to everything in this podcast that I just spoke to. No, the cycles are not dead. No, alt season is not dead. No, or yes, answering your question, the macro outlook for 2022 is bullish AF. How about that? Bullish as fuck. How about that? Please go back and if that hasn't sunk in before I answered this question, re-listen to what I had to say during this podcast. Just because price action in the short term isn't what we expected doesn't mean in the big picture things aren't bullish as fuck. So hang in there and remain patient, my friend. All right, thank you everybody for the engagement. And as always, in closing, please join me in a moment of silencio. You know how good I am with the Spanish. For all of those I attempted on multiple occasions to get into crypto and have remained ignorant. Thank you.